Lions fans, and welcome to episode 28 of Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast presented by the World of Football. I'm your host, Kyle Sutherland, and I am joined by my co-host and brother-in-law, Adam Snow. Adam, we took a little vacation here. How you doing, though?
Hey, man, this has been a crazy offseason. I've been good. My eardrum hurts a little bit from you just starting the show off. That was pretty loud. But, hey, the Lions, a lot of people have been criticizing them for not doing anything during the offseason, but I think they've made some really interesting moves. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff going on with our team to catch us up.
That is right. Yeah, so while we were away, the Combine happened. Free agency started last week, So we will go over all that stuff. But on today's show, we are going to go over the Lions losing or resigning players post-Combine, what we think the Lions might take at 29, and also talk about the free agent signing frenzy that the Lions have done. But first, we want to thank you for checking out the podcast, whether that's on the YouTube channel or on your podcast platform of choice. You can find the World Football and its many offerings on multiple social media platforms. Just check down in the description. And now, before we jump into that, we have some news items to quickly talk about. So, real quick, Jalen Reeves-Maybin re-signed with the Lions, but also he has been named president of the NFLPA. Last year, he served as vice president of the NFLPA, but now he is the president this year, succeeding Browns center J.C. Treader, who retired this year. So that is big props to Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Just the way he's been playing lately, stuff he's been doing, he's been moving up. So, yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, good character guy. It really makes me wish a couple years ago, Dad and I went to a training camp, and I guess he signed a bunch of little like mini footballs and was throwing them into the crowd. And I was like, I don't know if I need this guy's autograph. He's not even a big name on the team. I don't think I need it. Now I'm kicking myself that I wish I would have actively, I think a guy right next to me caught one of those balls. I was like, if I would have just pursued it a little more, I could have a Jalen Reeves-Maybin signed football, but I missed my shot.
Too bad for you.
Yeah, it sucks to suck, I guess. That's what I get.
Yep. So next up here, let's talk about extensions. Apparently, there's a rumor around going with Amon-Ra St. Brown, extending him. They're talking about in between the range of 26 to 28 million per year. Currently, right now, what he's doing is 4 years, $4.2 million with a base salary of $3.3 million for this year. No news yet of Goff extension. I think they're in the works of that during this offseason as well. But speaking of Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is going to be featured on the Netflix sports series. They had quarterbacks last year. This year they're going to do receivers, and Amon-Ra is one of those guys appearing in there. So, yeah.
Yep. It'll be Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams from the Raiders. You got Deebo Samuel and George Kittle from the 49ers. You're going to have Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. And I believe, is there one more I'm missing? That might be all five. But yeah, 5 guys. Yeah. So it's a spin-off, not a spin-off, but they're still doing the quarterback series. Because I think Matthew Stafford is going to be the lead name of that. So that'll come out too. But they didn't announce a release date, but before the season, we'll probably get receivers and we'll probably get quarterback in like back-to-back weeks or something just to keep the NFL fans going over to Netflix for those. So pretty interested to see about how that show goes.
Yeah, I didn't watch quarterbacks, but I'm going to definitely check this out, see what it's all about here. But yeah, good for Netflix.
Quarterback was a decent show. It was decent, but it became, because they focused on the 3 quarterbacks, because Mahomes made it to the Super Bowl, the further along into it you got, the more Mahomes heavy it was because he made it further into the the postseason than those other quarterbacks did. So it'll be interesting to see how they juggle 5 different receivers over the course of a season as opposed to the three quarterbacks. It might even work out better because that's just, you can jump around a little more and spread them out over the course of 8 episodes, whatever it is they're going to do.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
So moving on, was a player that is taking a pay cut to stay in Detroit. John Kaminsky's taking that pay cut. He was due to be paid $5.1 million this year, but took a pay cut to $2.1 million, saving on some cap space for the Lions. I know last year before the season started, Kaminsky was really putting it out there. I want to be a Lions. Re-sign me. I want to stay a Lions. So
Yeah.
Overall, last season, Kaminsky didn't really produce like we expected him to. I think he kind of knew that too. So that's why he's taking the pay cut to stay a Lion. So yeah.
Yep. I mean, took a bit of a step back this year, but I think with some of the signings we'll talk about, one specifically on the defensive line, who knows what kind of role that'll open up for Kaminsky. So we'll see. I think they have a plan. I think it's great that he wants to take a pay cut, but hopefully they have some sort of assurances to him, like some sort of role he's going to play. Otherwise, why would you take a pay cut? Just get your money, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wonder if it'll be just part like strictly like a NASCAR package deal, where he goes in on 3rd and longs to kind of rush the quarterback there.
Is that an actual phrase, a NASCAR package?
That's what they call it.
Who calls it that?
Lions. You don't hear that?
Lions call it that? I've never heard that package.
NASCAR package.
Interesting. I can't stand NASCAR. Maybe that's why I don't care.
Okay. So the last bit of news we have here, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes both had contract extensions now until 2027. What I've heard of is the Lions wanted to give them more money, but they can't do that. So what they did was extend their contract for another year, 2 years, I don't know. So that's why
yeah, because when because when they signed them, I was talking to Dad about this on our regular podcast, This Week in the World of Football. Everybody, check it out. It should be back in your podcast feed by the time this goes up. But we were talking about it, and I thought that when they signed both of them, didn't Campbell have like a 6-year contract, and then Brad Holmes had like a shorter contract, and it was kind of like, oh, that's weird that they structured it like that. But now it seems like they got it so that both of those guys are tied together all the way to the end of their deals.
Yeah, I think they both had 6-year contracts.
I could have swore like one had a couple more years or a year more than the other, like they staggered them. But I mean, it's been a while. All I know is it's good to have them signed on through 2027. And a name that also got lost in this is Spielman, Chris Spielman, the assistant to the owner, got an extension too. He's part of that nucleus of people that I think has really been the main turnaround for this organization. Sheila, bringing in Spielman, who helps bring in a Campbell and Brad Holmes. Just that nucleus right there. Those 4 people alone have been the biggest shot in the arm the Lions organization's needed to turn that thing around. And it's great to see them all keeping them under the team for a few more years.
Yep. So yeah. The only thing I gotta say about that is, like, I know the assistant coaches, the position coaches, I don't know if you can give them a pay raise, but some of those coaches, I hope if they can give them a pay raise, they look out for them too, because I'd hate to have someone like a Calvin Shepard or someone like that kind of leave Detroit, because we're giving Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes all this money, but we're not looking out for the lower tier coaches. So hopefully the Lions will.
Yeah, and however much they're paying Ben Johnson too and Aaron Glenn, like, to keep them around.
Yeah, because right now I feel like the coaching staff altogether for the Lions is in a good nucleus. So yeah, I'd hate for someone to leave and they'd have to replace them. So hopefully they do something there. All right, so moving on, Lions free agents, resign, no resign. So players that were on the roster for 2023. We're gonna go over this real quick. Kind of pause on some big names here. Tight end Shane Zylstra, who got hurt in the preseason or before training camp. Sorry, last year. He signed a 1-year deal. Graham Glasgow, guard. He's coming back, signing a 3-year deal for $20 million. So that's a big need they ain't got to worry about anymore, because I know going into this offseason, they're going to lose Graham Glasgow or
Jonah Jackson.
Jonah Jackson. Yep. If they didn't re-sign him. So, yeah. So we got one of the guards coming back, which I feel like Graham Glasgow last year for what he did for us. That's a big signing.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Reeves-Maven signed a 2-year deal, $7.5 million. Another signing which I'm okay with, Emmanuel Mosley, played 2 snaps last year, hurt or tore his Achilles, I think. He signed a 1-year deal, $2.2 million deal. Kicker Michael Badgley's coming back, signed a 1-year deal, $1.3 million. Running back Craig Reynolds coming back as a ERFA tenured for almost $1 million. ERFA, what that means is exclusive rights deal for the Lions. That means he's either going to play for the Lions or he's going to sit out for 2024 season.
Dang.
So yeah, I think he's going to be playing because he's a good backup for us. And then we got Zonovan Knight signed a 1-year deal. He's coming back for almost $1 million. Brock Wright, tight end number 3 or 4. Apparently the Lions applied the restricted free agent tenured on him, which is $2.98 million. Dang. And what that means is he has to, he has to play for the Lions unless the Lions release him. So I don't think Brock Wright's gonna not say no. So ain't nothing to worry about there. And then 2 people, Cody Awasika and James Houston, both have the ERFA tenured applying on both those guys. So again, either those guys are going to play this year or sit out. And another big name here, offensive line Dan Skipper, reporting eligible, has signed a 1-year deal for the Lions. So it's good to see him back. I think before last year, he was kind of jumping around, signing deals here or there. And he wasn't really like one of those lock-in guys that he would sign right away. And then a couple people here. Cleo Dorsey, cornerback, and Scott Daly, long snapper, wasn't offered an RFA 10-year deal, but they did sign a new contract for them. So they will be back. And wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, Michigan man, agreed to a 1-year deal. So he's coming back. So, yeah, those are the re-signs from last year coming to this year. You got anyone you want to talk about there?
Just in terms of the re-sign, I don't know. I'm happy to see like a Brock Wright come back. Craig Reynolds, I'm always happy to see back. I thought he, for a third string running back, I think he did what he needed to do. I'm very anxious to see what Donovan Peoples-Jones could do with a full season in Detroit, and to see what Emmanuel Mosley can do playing more than 2 snaps. So when Aaron Rodgers gets 2 more snaps than you to play a season, that's a little heartbreaking. But I'm hoping that they have enough confidence in his rehabilitation and that he's brought back to a point that he'll be a effective part of that secondary that they really bolstered through our big free agent signings, which we'll talk about later on, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about like kind of upgrades that they've signed here. So, real quick, people that last year played on a team who have signed elsewhere. Edge rusher Julian Okora signed a 1-year deal to the Eagles. Tight end Zach Ertz, who were, I guess his plan was if the Lions went to the Super Bowl, he was actually going to play for the Lions.
Yeah.
He signed a 1-year deal to the Commanders, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
Offensive guard Jonah Jackson. He was in talks with the Lions trying to make a deal, but apparently what the Lions were offering him wasn't enough, so he's gone to the Rams on a 3-year, $51 million deal. So he is getting that getting paid there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks losing him, but glad he's getting paid. And then defensive back CJ Gardner Johnson, which I think everyone knew he probably wasn't coming back. He's going to the Eagles for 3 years, $33 million deal there. And special teams specialist linebacker Anthony Pittman signed with the Commanders. Defensive tackle Benito Jones. He had an RFA tag on him. I think the Lions released him, probably just to be in good faith or no bad blood or whatever. He's signing with the Dolphins, and another special teams gunner, playmaker, cornerback Chase Lucas signed with the 49ers. So those guys will not be back for the Lions.
Which of those guys are you heartbroken over the most?
Looking at the list, no one really. Like, I was worried with the signing they did, if they didn't do yesterday, a little bit about Jonah Jackson leaving, but with his replacement they signed yesterday, I'm not too worried about now. So
yeah.
Yeah, then defensive back CJ Gardner Johnson kind of plays a safety role too, which right now they got really 2 safeties on this team, so that's kind of a little worrisome. So I don't know if the Lions plan on making another free agent signing at safety, but they definitely got to add someone else to that
Maybe
roster.
I just it tells me a lot when it was either like if it would tell me a lot if they signed or didn't re-sign CJ Gardner Johnson, the way, because we missed him a lot of last season. So I feel like that defense, while it was a struggle, especially on that back end, there were times where I was like, I don't feel like we need him. Even when he was out there, he made a couple of plays, but I was like, it wasn't enough, I think, to justify paying him what the Eagles ended up paying him. And I'm not saying he's a bad player by any means. It also could be a little bit of his play style and his rhetoric out on the field. Like, everybody's going to cite, I think a lot of Lions fans turned on him the moment they showed him on the TV, waving goodbye to the San Francisco fans when we were up 20-7. I don't know. That didn't jive with a lot of Lions fans. I think, having a guy like that is nice, but I think there were times where it proved that we didn't need him. And that's why Brad Holmes signed him to the 1-year deal, I think, to begin with, which was, hey, show us what you got. And, if everything works out and, we'll re-sign you. And I think Brad Holmes was like, I think we can maybe upgrade in the offseason, or at least find somebody who's going to be capable and cheaper to put back there. And that's where we're at. I think they're either targeting somebody in the draft, or maybe there is a free agent out there that they could sign that'll be cheaper than a CJ Gardner Johnson, but might work a little better in our scheme, because the safety market is saturated with a bunch of guys. A couple of guys have kind of fallen off that board, but I think the Lions still have a few options. And I'm sure they're waiting out, especially this far into free agency now, or a weekend. This is where the price is starting to drop on guys who thought they could make their bank, but there's so many safeties out there that I think the Lions could still get a bargain for a really good player.
Yeah, especially the guy from Seahawks who was a Lions originally.
Quandre Diggs.
Yeah, that'd be a good veteran.
I wouldn't mind seeing him back.
Yeah, veteran pickup, kind of behind the 2 we have right now, just to like mentor them or go on the field if they need a break or if one of them gets hurt, which I hope doesn't happen, but it's football. You never
Right.
know.
But he could, I mean, last I knew he was still a starter. He was still making plays for the Seahawks. So he's a guy that you're going to see in there a lot. So it's not like a full rotational guy, but it's a guy that'll have a role to play in that defensive scheme.
Yeah. So I don't know if Lions would maybe look at that, kind of talk to him, see what he thinks. So we'll see there.
Yeah.
So moving on, kind of big news when it happened. Safety Tracy Walker was released by the Lions. I don't know if he wanted to be a starter and he just wasn't he wasn't like he was before his Achilles incident or ACL or whatever happened. So he was kind of sitting on the sidelines, or even wasn't activated the last couple of games. So decided to cut him, see what he could do somewhere else. What that ended up was it saved them $5.5 million in cap space this year, cutting him. So hoping nothing but the best for him. Hopefully he gets on a team where he can start. But yeah,
again, he's part of that safety market that's oversaturated with a bunch of good, talented guys. So I'll be curious to see where he ends up. And I mean, who knows? Maybe he comes back to Detroit on just a more friendly team contract. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll see there. So we got a lot of people here remained unsigned. I'll just go over a few names here. Jason Kabinda, Josh Reynolds. That's kind of a big name, Josh Reynolds there. I think everyone's kind of wondering if the Lions are going to re-sign him or not. I know as fans, yeah, let's get him back here. But as Josh Reynolds himself, I don't know if he's going to be able to live with those 2 drop passes in that playoff game versus the 49ers. I don't know if he wants to deal with that or just kind of go to a different team. Another person, Halapuli Vaitai, I think he might retire. Romeo Aquara, Charles Harris, I don't think he's coming back here. Jerry Jacobs was an RFA. They decided to release him. I doubt he's coming back to the Lions. I wouldn't say he's good enough to be cornerback 1, but he's definitely could be a cornerback 2 on a different team. So hopefully he gets signed, gets a good deal. Also, I know this is your favorite person, defensive back Will Harris, not signed yet. He's a good cornerback number 5 or 6, but with the people we have now, I don't think he's going to make this team. So maybe he'll go somewhere.
I don't know. I hate saying I'm happy to see him on this list. I hate that because it's nothing against the dude personally. Every time he stepped on the field, it was a headache, and just I throw my head in my hands and just, what are you doing, Will Harris? He might have had 1 or 2 good plays, and I'll give him that. But the rest of the time, it was head scratching. He just clearly hasn't developed, I think, to the point where we hoped he would. So he's a casualty of this that I don't care if they don't resign. Who I would love to see back, I would like to see Kendall Vildor come back. I think he's got some potential. Charles Harris, I love Charles Harris. He had a good stretch there for a while. He was in on a lot of plays. I was like, I want that dude to stay with his team. But he kind of faded in obscurity a little bit last season. And Josh Reynolds, I hope they kind of re-sign him. He was clutch at a couple of points, but he had the drop passes in the San Francisco game. But in all fairness, those are the ones people want to talk about. But even Amon-Ra had some passes that he shouldn't have dropped in that game. A lot of guys dropped passes in that game. So it's whatever. I'm behind, I put the drops behind me. I think if he's got a place in this offensive scheme and they got a way to work him in, even after re-signing Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'd give him a look. I'd bring him back maybe, but who knows? I think, again, by them not re-signing some of these guys, gives me an indication on where Brad Holmes is taking this team and what direction they're going to go. It's younger, maybe different types of receivers. So we'll see. I wish all these guys the best. There's not another guy on this list that I despise, other than Will Harris. He was the only player that I actively. There's always one guy every few years with the Lions that I just can't stand, and Will Harris just happened to be this one. So I'd like to see him move on from him for both his sake and for my sake of watching him every Sunday. Just pop onto my screen and randomly try to make a play that he can't do. So
yeah, like the only other person I would say that I hope they don't sign, which I'm not no hard feelings to this guy, but Jason Kabenda, we need to get rid of this fullback position. He didn't really do much.
He's
when
been
he
a
was on
waste
the
of a
team.
roster spot.
Yeah, I think they can find a better person to fill that spot than what he does.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, Kendall Vildor, I hope they kind of resign him. He'd be a good backup for what he did for us last year.
Yeah, I liked him.
So combine happened. Couple big names that people are talking about for the Lions to pick up. Defensive lineman Tavondre Sweat from Texas. Big, massive guy there. He'd be a good pickup. Or Darius Robinson from Missouri, defensive end, would be another good pickup for the Lions. Or maybe a guard center player. I know a lot of people were throwing out Jackson Powers. I think he's from Oregon, I think. I have to check here. But yeah, those three. I think they people are throwing out the Alabama cornerback. Might target him too. So
is that Kool-Aid?
Yeah, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yeah.
Yeah, bring him in.
But with the way Brad Holmes wheels and deals in the draft, you never know who he's gonna pick his first couple people.
Yeah, and being that far back, who knows? Like, he might have his eye on somebody, and maybe he moves up. Maybe he's got his eye on somebody that is going to fall to him at 29. Hard to say. I'd be very curious to see how he operates this draft. And I wonder if there's a factor to it, and I doubt it, but I wonder if there's a little bit of a factor with the draft being in Detroit. Like, he feels like he's got to make some sort of move on, night one to kind of, hype up those fans there in Detroit that'll be flooding, the draft there. I'm not saying he would. There's no reason he needs to do it. I'd rather see him do the right picks, but if there is a move that he can make, I wouldn't be shocked to see him pull something off night one to get Lions fans going like, whoa, we moved from 29 to 16. Who we going for right now, But we'll see. Yeah, we got a month. I'm sure Brad Holmes, they're just doing their due diligence, finding the right guys, and I trust him pretty much.
Yep. So yeah, before these signings here, a lot of people were probably speculating he's probably going to move up to grab a person, but with the signings they have now, he's kind of a free range on if he wants to move up, he probably could, but whoever's available at 29, he's probably going to be okay with. I'm sure he's got a list of people, so
oh yeah,
I doubt they're all going to go at 29 before 29. So
right.
So speaking of that, let's jump into free agent signings. First one from the Canadian Football League, edge rusher Matthew Betts signed a 1-year deal for $795,000. I don't think that's guaranteed. So unless it doesn't work out, they don't have to pay him. Which I think, when does the Canadian Football League start?
It starts up June, like first week of June. So
if it doesn't work out, I don't know if you can go back to the Canadian Football League in time.
At that point, I don't know how that works or if he could. If you've been picked up by an NFL team, you think he might jump around the rosters there, waiver wire stuff or something. If something happens, but we'll see.
Yeah, just listening to his interview, I think he's got that grit or determination that he's going to give his best he can do in practice. Hopefully they do like him, kind of sign him, even if it's on a practice squad or like a backup or whatever. So we will see.
Yeah, when we inevitably do our list of what Lions we're looking forward to or who's going to be the sleeper player, Matthew Betts might be the guy to keep an eye on, especially with that defensive line that they've built. And we'll talk about the other guys they've signed. He might have a place to shine. So I'm very excited about him.
Yeah. Next person, we got edge rusher Marcus Davenport. Originally first rounder for the Saints. Played there a couple years. Balled out. He went to the Vikings last year. Got hurt. Played a couple games. Viking fans were pretty upset with him because I think they signed him for a massive deal. But he is signing with Detroit on a 1-year deal, $6.5 million guaranteed. I think it goes up to like $10 million if he plays or something. So another person. Just listening to his interview, he's a violent edge rusher. So if he does what he did in the Saints, goes all out, I think that would be a nasty pairing with Hutchinson on the other side and with the other guy they signed here. And then we have cornerback Amik Robertson, reported 2-year deal worth $9.25 million. I think he's going to be a good depth piece for the Lions if one of the starters gets hurt. He's kind of a short person, but he's built pretty big. He's got no problem watching the ball, man-to-man, jumping up, getting interceptions. So another good signing for the Lions.
Yep.
And then the big name signing here, the signing everyone was waiting for is Brad Holmes going to make this big signing, splash player. We have signed defensive tackle DJ Reader from the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know if he jumped around to a different team or not, but when I say massive, this guy is huge. Over 300 pounds, like a cement wall. When he plants his feet, you are not moving him. So good run stopper, good person for the linebackers who want to rush the quarterback, blitzes. Like, this is the guy to have. So he signed a 2-year deal worth up to $27.25 million. So with him, Ali McNeil, Hutchinson, and maybe Marcus Davenport or Matthew Betts or whoever's on the other side, this is going to be a front four that is going to massacre the offensive lines for the other team. So this is going to be
on
fun
paper.
to watch.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, this is a heck of a group they've assembled, and we already know they got some decent depth pieces like a James Houston, and now you add like a Betts and a Kamitsky still there. Like, there could be some potential here with this defensive line to match kind of the talk that everybody's got for the offensive line, which is considered a top 3 offensive line in the National Football League. I think this might be the year where we start saying this Lions front might be, I won't go as far as to say top 3 yet, because there's some good defensive lines out there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But, a top 10, top 5 defensive line. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because this is all on paper, and we have to wait to see how they draft. Maybe they draft another guy to really take it over the top. But I like seeing them improve on the defensive line that we already liked. We liked our defensive line quite a bit. But we did know that we needed to address getting Hutchinson some help on that line. And I think they've done a lot. So, very excited.
Yeah, even DJ Reader's press conference, like, hey, how do you feel about Ali McNeil and DJ Reader? He said, yeah, I'm excited to work with him, find out his techniques, what he does, why he loves playing defensive tackle. He was even talking about the guy they drafted last year. What's his name? The other defensive tackle.
Oh, I know he talked about Gibbs at one point. The other defensive tackle they drafted, was it the kid from Kentucky?
Yeah, the big guy.
Yeah, I can't remember his name at the top of my head. But oh yeah, spend some airtime looking that up real quick, because dead air is great.
Yeah. So yeah.
Maybe
Anyways,
maybe one of
Project
your
Martin.
cats will walk by. Fill
Project
that in.
Martin. So
Project
yeah,
Martin. There we
DJ
go.
Reader's kind of excited to work with Broderick Martin, give him tips, work with him, see if he can get him on the getting some play time. And also, they asked DJ Reader about Hutchinson, and DJ Reader's like, when Hutchinson gets going, it's like a fire lit, and DJ Reader's there for it. He'll be that cheerleader cheering on Hutchinson when he makes plays. So I don't know. This is gonna be exciting to watch here.
I think and you're gonna be asking that opposing offensive line to either double team a Hutch or you're double teaming a Reader. Like that's gonna be a tough task for any defense or offensive line because you got to pick your poison. You cover Reader, guess what? Hutch one on one with the dude. Hutch is gonna make some plays. You leave Reader one on one, that dude's gonna get some pressure and he's gonna be a wrecking ball in the backfield. Like, so I think the Lions on paper, again, injuries are going to happen. Hopefully we'll be good, but man, they're building something special there on that D line.
Yeah, and especially with the way Elaine McNeil's kind of coming off third year now, he's going to be one to watch too. Getting in the backfield, getting pressure and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, especially who was it? Anzalone excited too. He made a post on X about DJ Reader, Elaine McNeil, Hutchinson, and someone else are the first people we want coming off the bus. So that's good stuff.
Yep.
And so, moving on here, we had yesterday a big signing for the offensive line, offensive guard from the Ravens, Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah.
Reported a 1-year deal for the Lions, signed today. So definitely a good signing here. I kind of want to say he's kind of a little step up from Jonah Jackson. Made the Pro Bowl. I think his PFF grades for pass protection was pretty up there. So yeah, good signing there.
Yeah, I think the only question people are going to have is maybe his age, but it's a 1-year contract, and you and I were talking about this earlier today. But I feel like this could be a signing that's like hopefully he starts all year and he's your number one of your number one guards. But he could also be a guy who, is there to mentor a younger guy, whether they draft somebody or they got some of these other guys they've had like Scoresdale, some of these other guys that have kind of been, jumping around on the line. I think he'll just be another piece to kind of help in the maturation and just development of a lot of these guys. Because I think the Lions, again, that offensive line is a top 3 in the league. Their depth is right now. I love their depth. There are a lot of guys people aren't going to know, but they're guys who we've plugged in. They might have struggled for a little bit, but they gel with that offensive line, and they got a few pillars there with your Sewell, your Ragnow, and your Decker that you can kind of, go back and forth. And, they kind of, I won't say they carry the whole load, but I think you feel more comfortable knowing you got those guys beside you. So just adding a guy like this, even for a year, I mean, shoot. That as if we thought this line couldn't get any better, especially after losing Jonah Jackson, that we might have upgraded. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, and his availability during the season, it sounds like he doesn't get hurt a lot, so that's another big plus.
Knock on wood now that you said it.
But the only thing is he plays right guard, so that means Graham Glasgow would have to move to the left guard, but I don't think he's going to have a problem with that, being in between his two friends, Decker and Ragnow. So,
yeah. What a great offensive line. I just want to have beers with those guys. Like, that's what I want more than anything, I think, right now, is have beers with that offensive line in Detroit. Let's make it happen. That's the goal of this podcast now, is to have beers with the offensive line.
I wouldn't. I think they could.
You wouldn't? What? No, we're never going to have beers with them, Kyle. You can't just say that on the internet.
We'd end up in somewhere in Las Vegas. Oh my
God. No. We're going to go drinking it with them in Detroit. Shoot. Going to Vegas.
Big guys can drink.
Yeah, they can. And I'll have fun with them. Like, that'd be great. I just want to hear Penei Sewell just tell great stories. I want to hear Frank Ragnow talk about all his adventures. Like, come on, man. All those guys are interesting, fun dudes. I'm down. Let's do this.
I mean, I go fishing with Ragnow on his boat. I'd do that.
Would you? You don't seem like a fishing kind of guy.
No.
You don't seem like you have the patience for fishing.
Okay. All right. So moving on here real quick. We had a trade with the Buccaneers. Cornerback Carlton Davis from the Buccaneers we picked up for the second, third round pick to the Bucs, but we are also getting the 2024 sixth round pick and the 2025 sixth round pick from the Bucs also. Just from watching video, watching his press conference, and from listening to people out there in the social media, beat writers, all that stuff, this guy sounds like he's going to be the lockdown cornerback number one for the Lions, which means Sutton would move to the cornerback number 2 position, which I think everyone would be okay with. So, yeah overall, this is a great signing. And also,
go ahead.
Also, they kind of restructured his contract to save a little bit of money there too.
I was about to add that. Yep. And he's also the guy that Craig Reynolds just absolutely leveled in that game against Tampa Bay. So I feel like he's just like, I want to make up for that terrible, embarrassing play and, go to a team like Detroit. I'm excited to see him. I'm happy he restructured the deal. I'm very happy with how our defensive back room has been upgraded. Now we just got to get another safety, like we were talking about earlier. Plug in a safety, and I think that defense might be a step up from what we had last year. And as much as I criticized that defense last year, I think they've done what they needed to do, I think, to address a lot of our issues and concerns with it. So, hey, I think the Lions are off to a great offseason. And while I don't think the goal should be to win the offseason, just keep your football team improved and, as good as it was the year before. And, I think the Lions have been doing that.
Yeah, especially you see some of these teams signing these all-star players for like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like Brad Holmes is not that guy. He's gonna find these people under the radar that will kind of flourish in Detroit for good signing deals, nothing over the top. But someone like a Carlton Davis, he's a lockdown corner. You got people like, was it Jamar Chase from the Bengals saying Jamar Chase saying like this is one of the favorite people he likes that played against, like Jamar Chase. Every time he played against Carlton Davis, I think he racked up like 6 catches for 29 yards. So this guy, when healthy, is a lockdown corner, someone that Aaron Glenn is going to love on this team because that's what Aaron Glenn is all about, locking people down, being nasty, physical, getting interceptions. So this cornerback room I think is like a major step up from last year.
And it needs to be because they are going up against a gauntlet of guys now. You still got Justin Jefferson for now in the division. You just had Keenan Allen added to the Bears. You still got a DJ Moore to deal with. You're going to have they just signed that guy in Minnesota. Who's the second receiver they had there? The rookie that was starting to get really good there.
Oh, Addison,
he'll be a problem. Green Bay's still got a few guys now that they've improved. So that it's not going to get easier. So this cornerback room's got to step up, and I think the Lions went in the right direction. I think to hopefully stop a lot of that, and then they got to play the Cowboys again. And God help us, we do not need another game where stinking CD Lamb gets 1,000 yards in one game. Like, yeah, I think they know what they needed to do, and I think they have done a good job at addressing that cornerback room.
Yeah, like it'll be interesting. I think if they do blitz or if we have a linebacker blitzing the Cowboys, I think he's gonna wrap them up. So ain't no freakish plays gonna happen.
That was so close.
Yeah,
so close, Kyle. Good job catching yourself.
Yeah. So besides that, second week of free agency, anything can still happen. So just watch X, whatever, Facebook, be on the lookout. I personally, they might sign a few additional pieces as like backups. So I think Brad Holmes, like splashy signings, I think might be over. We'll have to wait till the draft.
Yep. Now it'll just be waiting for those big fat contracts for Amon-Ra and for Jared Goff. So and maybe even a Penei Sewell. I'm waiting for a deal to be struck with him.
Oh yeah. Yep. Him too.
Yep.
So yeah, we got the draft next month, April. It's at the end of the month, right?
Yep, April 27th. Well, 25th through the 27th, I believe.
Yep. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Detroit. So that'll be a good time there if you're going. I think you
I'm
guys.
sure we'll have a draft. We'll have a draft recap show. I'm sure at some point.
Yep. And you guys plan on going what, Saturday still?
We're gonna try to, weather permitting. Our plan is to go Saturday to just see what it's like in Detroit for the draft.
Oh yeah, with all the stuff they have planned, I think it's gonna be a good time there. So
yeah,
definitely something to look forward to. So yeah, after the draft, we'll probably have another episode come out talking about draft picks, maybe a couple additional signings they have signed. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. So anything else you want to add?
Nope, I think we're good. I just think maybe we'll have another show or two before the draft. I mean, depending on what comes out or what you want to try to do.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, if they have another splashy pick, we'll probably do another show here.
Okay. All right. Yep, I'm good if you're good.
All right. Yep, I'm all set. So let's close it out.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed listening or watching today's episode and come back for more. Be sure to visit the World of Football's website, theworldoffootball.com, for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. If you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to info@theworldoffootball.com, or you can connect with us by either liking the World of Football over on Facebook or following the World of Football's X account. Those links will be down in the episode description. Be sure to check out our flagship show, our podcast, This Week in the World of Football, which returned on Tuesday, March 19th. So be on the lookout for that if you haven't checked us out yet. We had a nice show recapping the last 4 weeks that we have not had a show. A lot of NFL craziness. We kind of jump all around the world of football. So go over there and check us out. New episodes of that drop every single Tuesday. All right. And guys, if you could, please hit that like button, subscribe button, little bell notification on this YouTube channel. It'd help us out greatly. And again, other links could be found down in the episode description.
All right. And hopefully you got your mic fixed there.
Why? What's wrong with it? For my show? Oh, yeah. For the football. Oh, yeah. Dad, we got 2 microphones we're not using that I paid good money for that Randy couldn't figure out. He had 4 weeks off to figure it out and he couldn't do it. So, yeah, don't worry. We've already argued about it, both on air and off.
Well, that's good. I can't wait to watch it.
Well, you can't watch. You got to listen.
Listen, whatever. All right. So that's it for us this week. Again, if Lions do another splash, big signing, we will have another show. But we have the draft coming up, so be on the lookout for that. We'll definitely have a show for that. So we will let you guys know. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribing. hit that like, subscribe button, comment on what you think about these signings the Lions have done. I think with the signings they have now, this defensive front's going to be a force. Cornerback room is definitely a major step up, so we're not going to have these all-star wide receivers making thousands of yards against us. So, yeah, overall, good day. Good day for the Lions. So, yeah, we'll see you again. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Go Lions.
Yep, go Lions.